What's happening in the Toronto real estate market? The April numbers are out. That's a great question. And by the end of this video, I'm going to tell you my biggest fear. Very scary. Hey friends, I'm Paul Haley, Toronto realtor, investor, educator, and speaker. And I want to change the way you think about real estate. Just trying out that tagline. What do you think? So let's dive into the numbers. I know numbers are boring, but we gotta talk about the numbers, okay? Okay, so the month of April, so past April, which is the first full month that we've seen the effect of social distancing and the economic slowdown that lies therein. That month compared with a year ago, April, okay? So what's happening? So sales are down 67%, new listings are down 64%, and prices are basically flat. But we separate it into the types of properties. Detached homes are actually down 3.5%, semis are up 7%, and condos are down 1.7%. What's that? Unbelievable. So you have to be careful with the numbers because they change depending on where you are and the type of property that you're looking at. So let's dig into the numbers. Get it? Because it's a shovel. We're gonna dig. So let's look at C1, Charlie 1. What the heck is C1, Paul Haley? That is a great question. So TREB divides Toronto up, the city of Toronto, into all these different areas, and they all have a letter designation and number. So C1 is from the water to Bloor Street, from Yonge Street to Dufferin and along the train tracks. Okay, so that's C1. Next door is C8. Next door to that is E1, East 1. And the other way it goes W1, and you head up north it goes C1, W2, blah, 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 etc., etc., etc. Okay? All that nerdy talk. Why do they do that? And the reason they do that is so we can compare numbers in similar areas for different types of properties. So that's exactly what we're gonna do, right? So in C1, Charlie 1, there were 122 sales. There was 1 detached, 5 semi-detached, 106 condos. So as you can see, condos are a big piece of this market. And the rest were like condo, townhouses, co-ops, etc. And the home price index, a little different than the average. It compares like to like. So it was up for detached 5%, semi 7%, and condos a whopping 12.6%. I was actually a little surprised by that. I thought condos might have come down. More on that later. Let's read that one. And 12.6%. When we dive into some of the ratios like sales to new listings, month of inventory, those are a little bit out of whack right now, right? Because we're at like 33% sales to new listings, which should indicate a buyer's market, except we have those condos going up 12.6%. So what the heck is going on? And as soon as people start to wanting to buy, those are going to get blown out of the water again. So it's really kind of hard to tell what's happening at this point from those numbers. So what does all this tell us? Great question. So what it tells us is the market is actually fairly stable. Yeah, the volume has dropped like a stone. That makes sense. But there are still people buying and there's still people selling. There's just less of both of those parties. The second thing it tells us, well, this says it does, but I know, buyers are actually coming back into the market now. People are getting interested now that spring has officially arrived, I guess. There are still bidding wars, and while there's not 20 or 30 offers, there's still 4 or 5 on properties that are marketed and priced correctly. And so what all this tells us is, who the knows? Nobody knows. Nobody knows what's really going to happen in the short term, right? These numbers don't tell you what's going to happen. Long term, we still have a supply problem in the city. If people come back to moving in the city, which they will, we get hundreds of thousands of people move to the city every year. We're still going to be short supply. In the short run, yeah, there's going to be some economic challenges. People have lost their jobs, they're on temporary layoffs. Maybe some people can't close on properties they're already bought. But there are people that can still afford to buy and can still afford to get into this market, and they will. So there'll be some interesting things happening in the short term. I think there will be some buying opportunities, potentially more on the condo side, as there's more supply in condos, and short-term rentals has basically come down to zero. So a lot of those landlords are listing those properties for long-term rentals or are going to list them for sale. So I think there'll be more opportunity there. And the supply of houses hasn't changed. We're not building any new houses, especially in the core. Yeah, we're building them out, but not in, old Toronto and York. So what is my biggest fear? So first, let me tell you a little bit of history behind my biggest fear. So January, February, those months were insane. I had a bunch of buyers. We were losing bidding wars. The market was very, very, very stressful for buyers. And for sellers, it was great. I listed a condo. We had 100 showings in 2 days, and we sold it in 2 days, and we closed 7 days later, which is lightning fast. So what is my biggest fear? My biggest fear is, what is my biggest fear? Okay, what is my biggest fear for real estate? Great question. My biggest fear for real estate is we've gone through this pandemic, the economy's taken a hit, the market is stable. What does that mean? Does that mean insanity on the other side? That's my biggest fear. My biggest fear is we come out of this, we come out of the economic situation, the market remains stable, then people want to buy, we don't have any supply, and the market goes crazy. That scares the hell out of me, because what that means is in the long term, there's nothing that's going to stop it. It is just going to go crazy. Whenever it all comes back, it is going to go insane. And that is why I tell people, just buy, please buy now while you can, while it's reasonable and rational and you can have conditions. Yeah, there may be bidding wars, but there's only 3 or 4 people. That's my biggest fear. And that's why I keep telling people, just buy now, please buy before it goes crazy again. Do I know that's going to happen anytime soon? No. But in the long run, my fear is it's going to happen, and it's going to happen big time. So if you want to know some more specifics about your area and the type of property that you're looking at or want to sell, please shoot me an email, paul@paulhaley.ca, or leave a comment below. That's me typing with my little fingers. And please like this video and smash the subscribe button so I know to make more content like this. And as always, if you want to get together and chat about our favorite subject, real estate. Get it? It's a shovel. I can make dad jokes. We're gonna dig, right? We're digging. Look at us, we're digging.